Well, I've been an investment advisor for about 40 years, and I have an excellent clientele that won't let me retire. Well, like everybody else, their assets have gone down. I mean, anybody that says they haven't is either not looking at their portfolios or they're lying. We're starting to see some change now. Our economy works based on the very simple concept of money in motion. And when the economy slowed down, that was exacerbated by the fact that the banks got all this TARP money on the theory that they were supposed to be passing it through, and basically they got the money and they held it because they needed to make their balance sheets look good for the bank regulators. So where they could have helped the economy start moving sooner, they actually made it worse because they hung on to the money and they also tightened up their criteria for lending, which made it more difficult for people that normally would have been able to borrow. So this little downturn, recession, whatever you want to call it, is stretching out a little bit longer than it should, a little bit deeper than it should, but we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. Well, the way it differs is what we had this time was the perfect financial storm, where you had real estate, securities, banking, everything came to a screeching halt. And then, like the pebble in the pond, the rippling effect started going out from the good old US of A across the world, because now we are in a global economy. We're not just living on the block by ourselves. We have our neighbors, and our neighbors happen to be across the world. So everybody starts suffering, and then that rippling effect starts coming back. I think these days we have more people that we're responsible for. What goes on in China affects us here. What goes on here affects people in Europe. I mean, until we get to the point where we realize that we live in one world and start thinking that way, you can't put walls up around your neighborhood and think that you're going to be isolated, because everything interrelates and interconnects with everything else and everybody else. But it has to stem from that idea, realizing that we do live in one world and that we are interconnected, and start acting that way.